Great Escape is on for Burton Albion as they move to within just a win, of course, from getting out of the old drop zone. And what about the top of the table? Peterborough, is it theirs to lose? We'll take a look at that. How much more next? Show today. We'll take a look at match day number, I think it's probably 32 out in League One, and we'll get to that in just one second. If you're new to the channel, I said, where the heck have you been, boys? Smash your subscribe button to keep you bang up to date with all things League 2 related, Blackpool Rovers related, whoa, football related. We got it all here. Oh no, whoa, Rooski, that's right, goodness gracious me. Peterborough cannot be stopped, scoring goals, running away with it, of course, but and down the foot of the table, Burton Albion get themselves to within touching distance from going from 24th all the way up to 18th, goodness gracious me, with games in hand. So, of course, Jimmy Floyd pulling the strings there. Take a look at all of that in just a second. Of course, big shout out to the Patreons. You know who you are, the VIP band of brothers. What am I talking about? I'm talking about this, boys and girls. That's right, the Patreon page. That's right. 25 of you lovely specimens went over here and joined the band of brothers, supporting the channel behind the scenes. It is, I do graciously appreciate you guys, because, of course, we're going through some real troublesome times, of course. Furlough right now, and, of course, I just had a job interview on Monday. It went well. We'll see how it goes. I maybe got through to the next round, but, of course, every little helps at this time, and, of course, we're trying to kick on forward over the next 12 to 18 months. Big old couple of seasons ahead. We've got the Euros this summer. I've got the World Cup next year as well. Goodness gracious me. And then hopefully we might be moving. We might be moving our sticks a little bit more warmer, of course, to gear up for the 2026 World Cup right out here in the US of bloody A. So big plans. And it's not going to end here. We're going to keep on keeping on. So I do appreciate your support, guys. We've got loads of stuff looking forward to it, and I do appreciate it, guys. If you are interested, there is a link down below, patreon.com/Roverseas. Come be a part of the project, boys. Part of the project. That's right. Let's get into it, though. Take a look at how we all got on last time alone, then, shall we? Of course, kicking on off with some of the games. There's only one postponement. I don't know what it was, COVID or snow pitch. I don't know, but I think it was a Blackpool game. But anyway, Wimbledon got themselves a win as well. The one they went over Gillingham. Jack Radoni on the score sheet, giving them the Dons a win there. Big valuable win as well for them. 1-1 for me, not too good. Of course, Blackpool Doncaster is postponed. I went with Doncaster, but we'll have to wait and see. Of course, Barton's back in charge now. Of course, I don't know if he was there officially. But they lost to Wigan. Callum Lang, Scott Wooten on the score sheet for Wigan. It keeps them in the hunt as well for survival down the foot of the table. Luke McCormick also getting a goal for Bristol Rovers. Unfortunately, not good enough. 2-1 for me, but actually 2-1 going the other way. Of course, big result for Burton Albion, 2-1 win on the road, beating Charlton. Jaden Stockley opened up scoring for Charlton. Mike Foden, Talaman, and a big fat OG from Ben Watson, giving them the Burton a win there. Valuable as well to move within touching distance of getting ourselves out of it. Again, 2-2 for me. I thought they would get something out of it, but I just didn't think they'd get all 3 points. Of course, Pickering's boys, Crewe, were doing okay against Accrington Stanley. It was 2-0 exactly. That's right. Omar Becker's on the score sheet. Chris Porter as well. Harvey Rogers got himself sent off, which made it a little bit easier for Crewe. But guess what? That win also puts them in the hunt for, of course, playoffs. Of course, Hull had a bit of a shit show against Ipswich Town. James Norwood back to scoring ways, of course, on the 15th minute, giving them the win. Actually, with a 2-0 win for go for Hull, but unfortunately not good enough. Lincoln City, though, kept up the heat, potentially with a draw over with Swindon Town. 2-1 for me. Shame on bloody me. But the goal scorers for the day was George A. Grant for Lincoln, Morgan Rogers as well. Jordan Carrick, and, of course, Brent Pittman on score sheet for Swindon, giving themselves hope. Also down the foot of the table, of course. Northampton Town against Rochdale was a ball draw. Got that one bang on the bloody nose. Of course, Oxford United could only muster a defeat up against Portsmouth. Big win for them on the road to also keep them in the hunt for, of course, automatics. Harvey White on the score sheet. Oxford still in the hunt for, of course, playoffs. Shrewsbury Town looking like a completely reformed team here right now. 4-2 winners over MK Bloody Dons. It was the Ben Glad win up against matey boy Harry Chapman, of course, from ex-Rovers and Rovers uniting there. Of course, goal scorers on the day. No chappers, though. Sean Gross, Oliver Norwood, Curtis Main, and Sean Gross on the score sheet. Will Gregg, he's on fire. And Charlie Brown, exactly, for the goal scorers for MK Dons. Oliver Nurbon, goodness gracious me. Anyway, of course, moving on, Sunderland, another win for them. 2-0 winners over Fleetwood Town. I got that one bang on the bloody nose. The goal scorers at the Stadium Light. Well, of course, Eddie and Brian, Max Power on the score sheet as well, giving them the win over Fleetwood Town, who looked like they're lost at sea. Plymouth Argyle against Peterborough in the Battle of the Peas, of course. Big win for Peterborough, 3-0 win. Sammy Summerditch on the score sheet, Johnson Clark Harris, and Jake Taylor also on the score sheet for Peterborough, giving them the win, and of course to maintain their top top of the league status. I actually went with a 1-1 draw. I don't know what I was thinking, but guess what? 3-0 win for Peterborough in the end. Got myself 4, which is, to be honest with you, not bad considering some of your guys' poor efforts. We'll have a look at all of that. I mean, of course, people lead the charge, but of course, 1 point clear over Lincoln City. Hull City down to 3rd right now, 4 points adrift of the automatics, and have played 2 games more than the nearest and dearest. Of course, Portsmouth up there as well with a couple of games in hand on Hull. Chance for them to close in on them. Sunderland back in the top 5, and they look good as well. Doncaster games in hand, but of course, falling away from the wayside. Accrington, Stanley still in the hunt, as of Oxford, Charlton, Ipswich, and even Crewe still in the hunt. And you can't even rule out the likes of bloody Blackpool with, of course, quite a few games in hand with the guys above them. But now, I mean, of course, like I said, touching distance now, Northampton and Wigan, it is going to get very, very interesting. If I was a betting man right now, I was going to say Fleetwood will get sucked into it. They're not safe, but they are in a much better position. But I would say Rochdale, Swindon, Bristol, Northampton Town, and I would probably throw Wimbledon in that mix. I fancy Wigan to get at it. I hope Burton get out of it. Well, that's pretty much it, and I do hope Bristol Rovers get out of it, of course. So anyway, let's kick it on further. Let's have a look at how you all got on. Of course, you embarrassed me. You embarrassed me, the lot of yous. In fact, only one of yous did a credible performance. 0 to 3, there's loads of those. 4 to 9, a couple of those. 10 of those, no thanks. Fearless, shocking, brother. Shocking. SCSC, not too shabby. Jamie Gould did absolutely fantastic. You'll take a look at that in just a minute, of course. Okay, didn't do okay. Leeds 2021, you did shy. James B. you did poop. Codigo, absolutely shocking. Of course, Lambie also did poop. Omar Escamillo, absolutely. Don't even think about it. Of course, Yanabasa did poop. Jonathan Sandham, shocking. Vincent Ong did gash. Shepard also did stinker rinkety dinkety. Gaming Chai also did poop. Chris Heen also did shite. Ultra Omriad, you're good, but you're shit this time. Joker Yakuza also did ghastly. Russell Frost did shit. Oliver Army, you did alright. I'll give you a round of applause because of that. Of course, Olaji Ojo, we'll get to you in a minute. About Peterborough Army, you did shit. Olaji Ojo also shit. Nathan Eva, though, coming at you from down under, he did alright, so well done to you, of course. And Alana did shit. Of course, us Kingpins have got ourselves 4 or more. Bloody fantastic. Look at the state of you guys. Look at the state of you. Go have a look in the mirror. Take a little look at yourself. A long, hard look at yourself and say, look, I'm shit and I don't deserve to be in this prediction league, of course. But, of course, Jamie Gould, fantastic with 7 on his bloody own or her own, whichever it may be. Nathan Eva and Oliver Army and STFC Janko and me, the best of the bloody rest. As for the rest of you, don't even look at it. But for whatever reason, I have looked at these calculations. We have a joint leader. That's right. I thought it was a runaway leader, than Russell Frost, but no, Joachim Jakobsen is back. 43% success rate, as is Russell Frost. So we have a joint fight now. Straight up fight for, of course, top honours. SCSC Jenko's also in the hunt. Jamie Gould, is that a big movement for you? I don't see you just yet. You're still making your way up the table, but that's giving yourself a big old boost. I'm sure it has. Who else has climbed up the table slowly but surely? Keep an eye on the Sandman. Where is he? He had a nightmare this time around. He'll need to bounce back this week, though. Of course, double match day this week, and we're all cramming into 2 separate videos. Kicking it all off then, it'll be Wimbledon up against Hull City. Let's take a look at this one then, shall we? Of course, pleasure the last 6. What do we have on this? In fact, we've got the last one. There's a 1-0 win for Hull. That was, of course, earlier in the season at the KCOM back in October. Of course, 1-0 win. Keen Lewis Porter on the score sheet back in, of course, the Kazam or KCOM, whatever it was. Of course, heading into this, just 1 win in the past 6 games for Hull. That 1 was against Wigan. Before and after that, there's been a couple of draws and a few defeats as well. Meanwhile, the last 3 games, Wimbledon, 2 wins and 1 defeat for them. The 1 defeat was against Peterborough, but picking up wins against Wigan and also picking up wins against Gillingham. Look at the boogies odds on this one then, shall we? Of course, coming at you, of course, on the Saturday. 41 for Wimbledon, 64 on is your Hull. Of course, 11-4 is the draw. Whereas in the table, of course, Wimbledon are just above the drop zone, but for them, they could go as high as 18th. Hull are in 3rd in a moment, and with them, they could close in on 2nd. Hull will get back to winning ways here at of course, down London way. 2-1 for Hull to get another 3 points. Let's look at Bristol Rovers. That's Joey Barnes' boys up against Shrewsbury Town, which is, of course, Harry Chapman and co. Let's take a look at this one then, shall we? Difficult one to call this one. I'll split loyalties. I like Barton. I know he gets a bad rap. But anyway, they played each other the last 6, so 2 wins apiece and 2 draws. Of course, last time around down at Bristol, it was a 1-0 win for Shrewsbury back in February 2020. Of course, last season before the lockdown, Daniel Udo on the score sheet, giving Shrewsbury the win. Of course, they played each other this season down in the Meadow. It was a 1-0 win for Bristol Rovers, of course, back in October. Of course, Brandon Hannon on the score sheet. Bristol Rovers actually failed to win 10 of the last 11 matches in League One. They're coming to just 1 win the past 6 in all competitions. That 1 win, of course, against Portsmouth, of course, at Bristol. And, of course, heading into this Shrewsbury, unbeaten the last 4. Picking up 3 wins and a draw to boot. They're looking very, very good at the moment. Look at the bookies odds on this one then, shall we? Of course, Bristol Rovers' new manager, Bounce, 11-5. for the victory. 30-10 is Shrewsbury. 21-10 is your bloody draw. Of course, Shrewsbury trying to climb the table up to 16th at the moment, but a win for them, they could go up to 14th. Bristol Rovers are in 21st spot, and in the relegation as of recording, but a win for them also could go as high as 18th. Difficult one, going to go with a 2-2 draw. I can't split the team, two teams. Can you make sure you get your picks in nice and early for this badger? Next, of course, Charlton up against, of course, Blackpool. If it goes ahead, we'll have to wait and see, of course. Look at the biggest odds. In fact, the last 6 between these two sides, 2 wins apiece and 2 draws. Last time around at the Valley was, in fact, a draw back in February 2019. It was a 0-0 draw. They also played each other at Bloomfield Road. This season was a 1-0 for Charlton. Chuck Zaniki on the score sheet. Ben Purrington and James Husband got themselves sent off for the respective clubs. Charlton conceded at least 2 goals in the last 8 home matches and also lost their last 3 at home. They came into this just 1 win in the past 5. That 1 win was against Rochdale on the road in Scotland. Meanwhile, 4 wins in the past 5 games of Blackpool have them turning up the cooks. Of course, that loss was against Ipswich, bloody town. Look at the situation out of the bookies on this one then, shall we? We've got Charlton coming at you 8-5 for the victory, 9-5 is your Blackpool, 11-5 is your draw, of course, coming at you, of course, Blackpool sitting 14th, but a win for them, they could go 11th. Sitting in 9th, though, is Charlton on 44 points, and a win for them, they could go as high as 7th in the bloody table. Of course, a win for me. Who am I going with? I'm going with the 2-1 for Charlton over Blackpool to get himself back to winning ways. Crewe, Alexandra up against, of course, high-flying in form Sunderland on 3 wins on the spin, of course. Let's take a closer look at this badger. Where is it? There it is, of course. Played in the last 6, 2 wins for Crewe, 3 for Sunderland, 1 draw. Last time around in Crewe was a 1-win, 4 Sunderland, all the way back to 2005 it was. Stephen Elliott on the score sheet. They did play each other this season at the Stadium of Light. It was a 1-0 win for Sunderland as well. Luke Oford with a big fat OG giving Sunderland the W. Of course, so it's been a while since Crewe beat Sunderland in the league. Go all the way back to 2003 and it was in Crewe. Meanwhile, Crewe undefeated in the last 9 home matches in League 1. Sunderland have actually won the last 3 matches, both home and away coming into this. Of course, Sunderland winning 4 in the spin in all competitions. Meanwhile, Crewe just 1 win in 3 though. Of course, losing 2 games on the road, but of course keeping a nice winning run over and home, of course. So we'll fancy the chances against Sunderland. Of course, the bookies odds 14-5 for Crewe, 55-2 is draw, at 11-10 on is your Sunderland. They are your favourites. Sunderland coming at you at in 5th, and for them they could go 3rd in the table. And guess what? That will be promotion right on track. Let's go next up. They'll go Crewe in 11th, and for them in 11th they could go as high as 7th. And guess what? They'll be right back in the thick of things for, of course, those playoffs. A win for me, for Crewe. That's right. Surprise, surprise. Getting the win over Sunderland to cause a bit of an upset. Next, go to Fleetwood Town up against Accrington Stanley. Of course, Accrington Stanley are still in the mix. Of course, Fleetwood Town looking down at the moment. Of course, played each other the last 6, 2 wins for Fleetwood, 3 for Accrington, and 1 draw last time around. In Fleetwood was a 2-2 draw in the Publishers Trophy, and that was, of course, last season. However, last time played each other in the league in Fleetwood was a 2-0 win for Fleetwood back in August 2019. I did play each other this season, though, in Accrington. It was a 1-0 win for Accrington. Dion Charles on the score sheet back in October. Fleetwood failing to score in their 6 of the last 8 matches out in the League 1. Of course, Fleetwood also failing to win 12 of the last 13 matches as well. Heading into just 1 win the past 6 games for Accrington. That 1 was against Doncaster, a 1-0 win at the Keep Moat. Meanwhile, 1 win the past 6 games for Fleetwood. And guess what? That was against Doncaster as well, but this time it was at home for Fleetwood. Look at the bookies odds on this one then, shall we? Of course, Fleetwood Town, 23-20 for the victory, 30-5 is your draw, 21-10 is your 21-10 is your draw, 35 is your Accrington Stanley. Sorry. Heading into this, Accrington are in 7th, but a win for them, they could go 6th, whereas Fleetwood are actually in 17th at the moment, but a win for them, they could go 16th. Dizzy heights there, of course. 2-1 win for Accrington Stanley, get themselves right back in the hunt, top 6 on the agenda. Ipswich Town up against Doncaster, if it goes ahead, of course, played each other the last 6, 4 wins to Ipswich, 1 for Doncaster, 1 draw last time around in the Portman Road was, of course, a 0-0 draw back in League 1 2019, of course, but they did play each other this season at the Keep Up back in October. It was a 4-1 win for Doncaster. Goal scorers on the day, Cameron John, Benjamin White with a brace, but you did go on the score sheet as well. Joe Wright with a big fat OG giving Ipswich some hope. Ipswich keeping a clean sheet in the last 3 matches at home. Heading into this though, Ipswich just 1 defeat the past 5. That 1 defeat was against Peterborough. Meanwhile, 1 win in the past 5 for Doncaster. That was against Oxford all the way back at the start of the month of February. Look at the bookies odds on this one then, shall we? Of course, Ipswich will be 5-4 for the 21-10 is your Doncaster, 23-10 is your draw. Doncaster now down in 7th. A win for them, they could go 6th. Ipswich into 10th. A win for them, they could also go 7th in the table. Ipswich got their tails up at the moment. They're going to go with a 2-0 winner against Doncaster, who have got their tails down, and they look a little bit wobbly at the moment. Next up, of course, we have MK Dons taking, of course, Oxford United. Played each other in the last 6, 2 wins for MK Dons, 3 for Oxford, 1 draw. Last round at the Stadium MK was 1-0 win for MK Dons, of course, back in December 2019. Joe Mason on the score sheet. However, they did play each other this season at the Kazan. Was a 3-2 win for Oxford. Taylor Long and Shadiba on the score sheet. Cameron Jerome and Blaine Gladwin on the score sheet for MK Bloody Dons. MK Dons scoring at least 2 goals in 5 of the last 6 matches in League 1, coming into into this, though, just one defeat the past 4. That one defeat was against Shrewsbury just the other day. Scoring goals as well. They actually scored 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 goals in the past 4 games. Meanwhile, what are we looking at? Oxford without a win in 3, losing 2 and drawing 1. It's not good at the moment for Oxford. Look at the bookies odds on this one. 31-20 for MK Dons. 9-4 is draw. 7-4 is your away win. Oxford coming at you out in 8th to win for them. They could go 7th. As for MK Dons in 13th to win for them. They could go as high as bloody 8th. That's right. That's how tight it is in the middle of the pack. I've gone with a 1-2-1 win for Oxford on this one. Get back to winning ways. And of course, put a bit of trouble on the MK Dons. Next, of course, we have the high flyers Peterborough up against the low bro. That is, of course, Wigan. Let's take a look at this one, shall we? Of course, last 6-2 is Peterborough, 1 win for Wigan, 3 draws last round. As Peterborough was a 3-2 win for Peterborough back in, of course, 2017. Junior Moore Ice on the score sheet with a couple of goals there. Jack Marriott as well. Stephen Taylor, they for OG and Ryan Colclough as well. Meanwhile, the picture that DW back in October was a 1-0 win for Peterborough. Johnson Clark Harris on the score sheet, of course, goal scoring machine at this level. Peterborough, though, winning 8 of the last 10 matches in League One, also scoring at least 3 goals in the last 3. I think it's just winning 5 on the spin in all competitions. As for Wigan, 2 wins in the past 5 games, which shows a bit of a turn up in form. Look at the bookies' odds on this one. Peterborough will you be your favourites? 20-9 on for the victory. 7-2 is your 11-2 is your Wigan. Can they do a surprise package? Of course, you don't know. They're in 22nd at the moment. Wigan, a win for them, they could go as high as 18th. Peterborough are first, and a win for them, they'll keep them at top of the pops. Of course, I've got them win the win. 3-0, comfortable in the end. Next, of course, Plymouth Argyle up against Lincoln, who are sitting in 2nd. Plymouth have still got outside aspirations, of course, the playoffs as well. Played to the last 6, 4 for Plymouth, 1 for Lincoln, 1 draw last time around. Plymouth was, of course, in the FA Cup this season, 2-0 win for Plymouth. They did play each other in the league, in league, where, in fact, when did they play in the league? The last time they played each other at Plymouth in the league was all the way back in 2001, goodness gracious me. Yes, indeed, back in League 2. Frilio and Cochrane on the score sheet for Plymouth as they won. They did play each other this season in the Lincoln. Of course, it was a 2-0 win for Lincoln City. Of course, back in October, Georgie Grant and Brendan Johnson on the score sheet for Lincoln City. Lincoln City have actually won 7 last 8 away matches in the division. They've also scored at least 2 goals in the last 3. Heading into just 1 defeat of the past 6 games for Lincoln. That was, of course, against Sunderland in the Papa John's Trophy. Same can be said for Peterborough. 1 defeat the past... one defeat. The same can be said for Plymouth. 1 defeat the past 6. Of course, that was against Peterborough just the other day. Of course, look at the bookies' odds on this one then, shall we? Of course, Plymouth 21-20 for the victory. So 21-10 for the victory. 9-4 is draw. 30-10 is your Lincoln. Lincoln, of course, 2nd win for them. They could go top. So Plymouth are in 12th win for them. They could go as high as 8th in the bloody table. Oh, yes, indeed, yo. For me, going to go with the 2-1 win for Plymouth. So another sort of shocker in the cards right there. Meanwhile, Portsmouth up against Gillingham. Let's take a look at this one, shall we? Of course, down at Fratton Park on the 27th of Feb. Played each other in the last 6, 2 wins apiece and 2 draws. Last round at Fratton Park was a 0-0 draw back in October 2019. They did play each other at Priestfields back in October this season. Of course, a 2-0 win for Pompey as well. Goal scorers John Marquis and Michael Jacobs on the score sheet. Heading into this, though, Gillingham just 2 wins in the past 6 games. Of course, beating Charlton and also beating Bristol Rovers. On the flip side, just 2 wins in the past 5 for Portsmouth, beating Swindon. And, of course, beating Oxford just the other day to give themselves a bit of a boost. Look at the bookies' odds on this one then, show. Of course, Portsmouth 7-4 on for the victory. 40-5 is draw. 19-4 is your Gillingham. Of course, Portsmouth coming at you. And in 4th win for them, they could go 3rd. As for the opposition, Gillingham, they're all the way down into 15th at the moment. But a win for them, they could go into the top half of the table, up as high as 11th. Portsmouth will take this one. Yes, they will, with the 2-0 win in the bag at Fratton Park. Rochdale against Burton now, and of course, relegation 6-point if I ever saw one. I went for Burton, couldn't see them actually leapfrog Rochdale in the process, depending on goal swing. Look at this, the last 6, 3 wins apiece and no draws. Last time around at Spotlands was a 4-0 win for Burton. Back in, of course, January 2019, Marcus Harness with a couple of goals there. In fact, he got a hat-trick. Liam Boyce as well. They did play each other this season at Burton. Of course, back in October was a 1-0 win for Rochdale. Matthew Lund on the score sheet. Rochdale actually failed to win their last 13 home matches, also failed to score in the last 3. Burton have actually won 3 of their last 3 away matches as well. Heading into this with a bit of a spunk up their arse. Sounds a bit wrong. It probably is a bit wrong. 3 wins in the past 4 games. Of course, Burton with the double. Of course, their only hiccup was they lost to Sunderland. Meanwhile, without a win in 5, that's Rochdale. Last time they were victorious, that was against, of course, Bristol Rovers at the back of January. Look at the bookies odds. I'm still going back of what I just said there. Well, the bookies odds for Rochdale. What do we have? What do we have on this one? Rochdale. There we go, 90-10 for the victory, 7-5 is your, of course, your away win. That's, of course, Burton. 9-4 is the draw. Of course, the win for Burton. They could, I've said about umpteen times, they could go as high as bloody 18th. As for Rochdale, they're in 18th, and a win for them, they could close in on 17th. Of course, I've gone with Burton. Yes, I have, with the 2-1 win to take it to the house. And wrapping up, it'll be Swindon Town up against Northampton Town at the back of the towns. Of course, there's another relegation 6-pointer. Of course, the break of the last 6, 3 wins for Northampton, 1 for Swindon, 2 draws last time around. In Swindon was, of course, 1-0 win for Northampton. That was, of course, back in League 2 last season, of course. Andy Williams on the score sheet. Of course, the picture this season over at Northampton as well as a 2-1 win for Northampton as well. So not too shabby. Christopher Miller-Sululu and Danny Rose on the score sheet. Tyler Smith getting the goal for Swindon. Of course, Northampton failing to score in 7 last 8 matches in League One. They also failed to win 10 the last 10 matches out in the division as well. Coming into this, just 1 defeat past 3. You can look at it that way. Of course, the 1 defeat was against MK Dons. The other 2 were draws. Meanwhile, just 1 win the past 4 games for Swindon. That was against Crewe, 2-1. Big win that was, of course, for Swindon. Meanwhile, the bookies' odds on this one at 30-10 for Swindon. 2-1 is your Northampton, 12-5 is your draw. Of course, Swindon are actually in 19th at the moment. With them, they could go 18th. Northampton rooted in the foot of the table, towards the foot of the table, 23rd spot, but a win for them. They could also go as high as bloody 18th. It's that tight at the bottom there. I've gone with, on this one, a 2-0 win for Swindon Town. Could they be going down? Could Northampton Town be going down? That's what I think happened this weekend. Of course, make sure you get your picks in nice and early. This is what the table will look like at the end of it. It will be a glorious picture for Peterborough, of course. 4 points clear of the nearest and dearest, that is Lincoln City. But even more than that, there'll be, 5 points clear of a Hull City, who sit in third. Not so pretty, of course. Portsmouth, Sunderland and Doncaster going into the playoffs as of right here, right now. But of course, look at Accrington Stanley, level on points, level on goals. It's very, very difficult to call who will go up or via the playoffs. Anyway, of course, down the foot of the table, Northampton, Wigan, Wimbledon and Bristol Rovers will be going down as of right here now. Look at that. So they're all on 28 bloody points. Goodness gracious me. It could not be tighter. This division is going to the wire, whether you're going up, whether you're going down, or whether you're staying in between. Of course, we'll take a look at all of it as it pans out. Of course, be sure to get your picks in nice and early down below, and we'll do it all again, of course, on the weekend. Until then, though, just smash your thumbs up, smash your subscribe, of course, and check out the links down below. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, and again, if you want to support the channel in another way, you could become the brother of another mother, of course, joining the old Patreon. Check out the link down below, patreon.com/Roverseas. We'll do it again, very, very soon, folks. Until then, though, I'll see you soon. Be safe out there, mask up, and all that kind of jazz. I'm out of here.